Hello, my name is Ploetz. I'm going to start with a story. In my elementary school, we had an event called the Father-Daughter Dance. Every year was themed, 70s, Hawaii, you name it, but it was important that you looked the part. In my elementary school kingdom, dressing well for the dance theme was up there with getting more tater tots at lunch. Now, I was a bold dresser. I rocked those lime green sweatsuits and Powerpuff Girl t-shirts. But my real test was the 5th grade father-daughter dance. The theme was finally announced: formal. All of my peers started planning their red carpet wear. One girl's parents even rented a limousine. My friends all purchased their gowns, long, flowy things that swept up the world around their feet. Their hair was done perfectly, their nails manicured to pristine condition, and their entire persons made to look as if they were actually attending a Hollywood award show. I wore a pantsuit. See, it was in 5th grade that I realized that my identity didn't match up to traditional feminine roles. Essentially, I operated as a functional tomboy. I snubbed my nose at dresses and practically rolled around in dirt. Now, I could tell you that I had this grand realization where everything fell into place, and I figured out my identity in an instant. But if I did that, I'd be lying. My middle school years were full of damp underarms and teeth with canyons between them. I tried makeup and hated it. I tried dressing like the girls in my grade and hated it. I hated every part of what society was telling me girls were supposed to be, so I thought, I'm just a special kind of girl. It only occurred to me later that I didn't maintain this unique kind of womanhood. Instead, I didn't maintain a womanhood at all. Flash forward to my senior year of high school. I had a great teacher who I could tell practically anything to. I ended up skipping a few classes to confide in him. One late winter day, I stormed into his classroom, took my familiar seat next to his desk, laid my hands on the table, and declared, "I can't take the test today." He wasn't going to make me take the test that day, of course, but he had to know why, so he asked. I took a deep breath, held it, and let it out slowly. "I'm gay, and I can't take the test today." He just smiled. Exploring my sexuality like this helped me to start to recognize the mountain of gender, and having confidence in being queer helped me start to conquer that mountain. It took me a long time to figure out my gender exactly, and I can't say for sure that it won't change in the future. As of right now, I identify as genderqueer, gender fluid, and genderqueer, I guess. Most of the time, I feel agender, but occasionally I'll feel masculine. While it's easier for most people to understand my masculine feelings because they fit into our nice little gender binary, it's important to understand that there are way more than 2 genders. For the sole purpose of overwhelming you, genders can range from pangender, polygender, bigender, ambigender, androgyny, agender, gender fluid, demigender, and so many more. The spectrum of genders that exist is so complex and diverse that I could spend this entire speech just listing off genders, but I realize that that's difficult and kind of boring, so I'll just try to explain how being agender feels. It's a whole lot of nothing. I don't identify with any gender. I don't feel qualities of both male and female like an androgynous person does. And I don't go back and forth between male and female like a binary gender fluid person might. I feel no gender besides my own personal one. It's like how there are cat people and dog people, and I'm an imaginary animal kind of person. That's how being agender feels. Actually, non-binary genders have been around for a long time. You may have heard of the 3rd gender before. Many societies today often have birth certificate designations for a 3rd gender, but often they actually mean 3rd sex, which refers to intersex people. Actual 3rd genders have existed in history, though. Ancient Egyptian pottery dating back to 2000 BC displays androgynous gods and 3 genders. Additionally, people in South Asia, namely in Pakistan, called Kavaya Sira, identify as male, female, or 3rd gender, and they describe themselves as neither a man nor a woman. Many Kavaya Sira are transgender, but some are genderqueer. In the West, Native American societies also have evidences of 3rd genders. These people are considered two-spirit. Some tribes, such as the Navajo, acknowledge 4 genders: masculine men, feminine women, and feminine men. The latter two genders have a more androgynous nature. As you can see, many different societies from around the globe recognize that there are more than two genders. Unfortunately, many people still refuse to consider that there are other genders besides male and female, and that's understandable. It can be hard to wrap one's head around. What's not understandable is the amount of discrimination that non-binary people face. Every day is a trial. Every day is waking up and wondering if your identity is valid. Every day is knowing that those around you don't think it is. Every day is hoping that you can fit into the binary. And every day is knowing that you can't. Luckily, we're starting to make some progress. Facebook has implemented non-binary gender options, such as genderqueer, an umbrella term used to describe people outside of the gender binary. I personally use this term when trying to describe gender fluidity. This is a big step on Facebook's part because where big companies go, smaller ones will follow. Vanderbilt actually does a lot for non-binary individuals. For example, the McGill Project strives to maintain an inclusive community, which is vital for people who are often ostracized. McGill actually has a few gender-neutral floors, creating an accommodating space for individuals who identify as trans or non-binary. According to Luke Nance, the graduate program coordinator of McGill, expanding gender-neutral restrooms within the dorm was a big step. Nance also introduced more inclusive signage. He employed signs with a toilet symbol rather than a binary man or woman. Similarly, Vanderbilt at large has converted all single-stall restrooms into gender-neutral restrooms. These alleviate the panic that accompanies visiting a public restroom. It's much more difficult to pick a binary restroom than one might think. For example, today I was trying to pick a binary restroom and I just ended up flipping a coin. Right, today's heads, so that means I'm using a male restroom. Really though, Vanderbilt is becoming an even more inclusive community, but there are still many obstacles in the way of non-binary individuals. People are aware that binary transgender people, or those who are male or female transgender, already experience staggering rates of unemployment, assault, brutality, and discrimination. But a study in the National Transgender Discrimination Survey also showed that genderqueer and other non-binary individuals were more likely to be unemployed, suffer physical assaults, experience police brutality and harassment, and opt out of medical treatment due to discrimination. But I'm not here to lecture you. I'm here to bring attention to a problem. And to bring that attention, I will share a very personal story with you. I've suffered from mental illnesses since I was a child. I've struggled with depression, anxiety, and panic disorder. I often have a hard time handling classes because my depression-induced apathy is so strong, and my anxiety around people is so formidable. Standing here is a miracle for me. When I realized that I didn't fit within the gender binary, my life crumbled around me. I felt like any worth that I had was lost. I felt as though the world was a jigsaw puzzle, and I just wasn't the right piece. My friends and roommate provided me with safe spaces, and I can't thank them enough for that. But it started to seem like going outside was an attack on my individuality and dignity. I needed a home when I didn't have one. I became reclusive. I retracted into myself, and my suicidal thoughts increased tenfold. I briefly mentioned this to my roommate, and long story short, I was hospitalized for about a week. I'm lucky that nothing happened. I had a wonderful support system, and I now know that I'm loved and that it's okay that I don't fit into one of the two gender buckets. But this is not just about me. This is about the genderqueer people who don't know where to go. This is about our siblings who don't have a home. This is about the non-binary bodies who see no way out. We're killing our siblings, but we don't have to continue. I love my brothers and sisters, but my other siblings are often forgotten. I believe that the inherent gender binary system is flawed. I believe that there are people outside, within, and in between that binary. And I believe the next step to moving forward as a species is to recognize our siblings' importance, worth, and dignity. So what can be done? Well, the cool thing about non-binary people is that they look just like regular people. Except if you look right at the base of our neck, where our third eye is. Just kidding. But that being said, we're just human. Chances are you know someone that is non-binary, and you never really know what anyone is going through. So it's a safe bet to tell the people around you that they're loved no matter who they are. It's also a wonderful idea to respect people's pronouns. If someone tells you to use a word that you don't recognize as their pronoun, just go with it. They know themselves better than you do. I use they, them, theirs pronouns, and I honestly can't accurately describe how good it feels when somebody uses my correct pronouns. It's like something clicks into place when somebody uses they instead of she. If you do know someone who is definitely non-binary, recognize that they deserve the same respect that anyone does. They deserve compassion, kindness, and most importantly, love. Love really is the key to all of this. Love is what's going to bring everyone together, and as cliche as it sounds, love is what will heal the rift that we've created by alienating our siblings. I encourage you to love the people around you, whether they are non-binary or not. Everyone deserves to feel validated in their gender. Everyone deserves to feel loved. At the 5th grade father-daughter dance, I was not ridiculed. None of my friends laughed at me. My parents supported my decision to wear that god-awful pantsuit. I had a great time. I danced the night away with my dad and sister, and I was comfortable in my clothing choices, but the real comfort came from the love from the people around me. Thank you.